And here we are again, another episode of Birds Breakdown. And I tell you, I tell you, we got a lot to talk about, and I really want to get. But let's go through it. We're at obviously Tonic Seafood and Steakhouse there in downtown Wilmington, Delaware. Beautiful down here. It's a gorgeous night. You guys need to come out and actually see us tonight. We have, of course, my co-host El Parchero. He's the man. And they had at least there's one Philadelphia team that's doing some fantastic stuff out there, and that is the Union, the other football team in the city. But then we also have the King, Kyle Carberry. Welcome to the show. I really appreciate it.
Guys. Appreciate it.
It's
long overdue, that's for sure.
I tell you, it's good to have you here, man. This man is like a TikTok legend already in Philadelphia sports. He's done our thing.
I'll do something for him.
Exactly.
Kill some time.
So let's start off. Let's definitely. I want to thank our sponsors. Today we have Tonic Seafood and Steak. Of course, they were voted Best of Delaware 2 years running. Wi-Fi, gluten-free, awesome internet. Philly Sports Trips. We got a new one. The premier travel company for all Philadelphia sporting events. And, of course, King Creative. Every story has an audience. Let the Blue Lion tell yours. And we had a tie yesterday.
It wasn't soccer.
A tie.
It wasn't soccer. It was football.
One at a time.
You know, the last time we had a tie was against the same team. How ridiculous is that?
I didn't know we could tie.
I tell you, I'm gonna let. I tell you what. Since you're the new guy, you're here today. Tell us what your thoughts were.
Let me just start off by saying Doug Peterson definitely should have went for it on the fourth down there. I know we had the full start, it's 59-yard field goal. I liked our chances there with Jake Elliott. However, Dougie P, you're a gambler, like going for it. You gotta go for that 4th and 12. You gotta go for it.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, our defense was playing well. Get that stop.
Yeah, 8 sacks. Of course, you can't deny that. And I agree with you. Like, it's crazy because I feel like when the pressure's on the Eagles, the backs are against the wall, that's when Doug shows the big balls, right?
Right.
And yesterday, I don't know where that was on that call because obviously, you're going up against a rookie QB. Now, I know that Joe Burrow played really well yesterday, but give your defense a chance there to try to win the game there. Obviously, that was a boneheaded move on the false start there, but yeah,
and that's assuming we don't get the first down.
Yeah, who knows?
So there's a lot to talk about when it comes to that play. I actually put in our notes the last series specifically because there's a lot of things that I felt that he did wrong on that series. It's first off, having a tie is like kissing your sister. It is like the worst thing in the world to actually have happen. And I didn't even have the words to say. It was so frustrating to see, okay, we're going to tie this team. However, I start my Monday mornings. I don't go into my office until after I hear Doug Peterson speak on WIP.
That was interesting.
And he addressed it right away, said, I should have done something different. And that's, you know what? Listen, it's tough to hear that from a coach, but he actually, I thought he said the right thing there because you can't go ahead and turn around and say, no, I didn't do the right thing there. You know what I mean? Or I did the right thing there. Punting was the right answer. However, the plays before that, leading up to that, he ran to try to center it up. Like they didn't try to gain any extra yardage. They were just going to assume that he was going to kick a 59-yard field goal. If I remember last week, he missed a 54-yard field goal, short. So I don't know why they didn't go for it a little bit further there. It was really very, very, very frustrating to watch that whole series of downs and just really watching a lot of the game. That game was really a frustrating game to watch in general. Joe Burrows is a player. That guy is going to be good in the NFL.
He impressed me.
I tell you, after he took that one hit, I thought, I'm like, all right, he's going to be rattled. He's going to be rattled.
That reminded me that Algie Crumple hit the Dolphins down. Yeah, that Sheldon Brown on Reggie Bush hit. That was on that level.
Yeah, exactly. And he got up. It took him a second to shake it off, but he shook it off and then came back out there. And we'll go over his stats in a little bit because that's in my notes over here. But I'd say between that and then, how about Jason Peters?
he was getting owned,
Yeah, man.
particularly in the first half.
Well, so I saw they made that adjustment, and that's not, I look to try to see what type of adjustments they're going to make in the second half. And in the second half, they started to bring in Rodgers. That's why Rodgers was in a lot more frequently. I know that we had, what's his name was hurt, Dallas Goedert was hurt, but they started to bring him in, and it was just for chip help. They needed to help him because he was really getting destroyed. 3 sacks, all involved him.
He was getting beat like a drum.
He was. 38 years old, cried about the money, and now he can't live up to the expectations. And that was a real big shame. And then, of course, 7 interceptions last year, 6 in the first 3 games. He's averaging 2 a game.
Yeah.
And that first one was tipped, but even if it was not tipped, that linebacker had dropped. He would have picked that ball up.
There was 3 guys right around that.
Right. So these picks aren't like tip balls or Hail Marys. These are bad interceptions.
Right.
Interceptions. The second one, he should throw on the outside shoulder first.
And that really was just all of them. First off, and then I go with the coaching. Like, first off, I don't know how many plays it seemed like everybody was together. On that one 3rd down play where he wound up getting sacked, they had to actually get the field goal instead. They had 3 receivers. They had 2 guys in the corner that were covered man-to-man because once you get over in the corner, he didn't throw the ball fast enough so that you lose those guys. 3 guys all around each other. So how do you – well, defense is real easy. All you got to do is stand there and put their hands up, and you're going to block that ball. And it was just poor play calling all the way around. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand are they not practicing these plays differently, or they just don't have a better scheme or game plan. It just those types of things were really kind of frustrating. And it just seemed like over and over again that they would and run the ball. I don't know how many times I yelled it and screamed it yesterday.
Miles Sanders had some real success in the first half on the ball. We kind of get away from it.
Almost got 100 yards yet again. And the thing is, like, his touches started deteriorating as the game went on. So, like, in the 4th quarter, I think he got like 10 carries or something like that. He needs a more focal point. But again, and we talked about this before, Miles Sanders can't be the only back here. And I think that's another issue as well. Like, Miles is great. I love Miles. He's great in open space. He can run around, catch ball. He can do a lot of different things. But you need that change of pace guy, not the Boston Scott type. I'm talking about a Jordan Howard, a Garrett Blunt type, someone big and physical who's going to get you 4 hard extra yards. 4 hard extra yards. I think we're missing that in this offense as well. Against the Cincinnati run defense, you needed a run down the throat. Like, Carson should have not been thrown 47 or 49 times.
Our second highest rusher was Carson Wentz.
Exactly. And I give him credit for that because, listen, it wasn't working on the air, but he still found a way in that last drive in the 4th quarter. He used his legs and he got the touchdown to tie the game up.
Well, and I felt like that showed a little bit of heart for him because ultimately he was afraid to throw it. I think that he was afraid of making another mistake. And it's that when that starts getting into your head, it starts to really affect you in a different way. So that's what I was like, wow, like he's that. And I tell you, I understand why they did those couple of plays to have Hurts go in there. But that is just stirring a pot that you're not going to be able to answer, especially since, and we talk about it a little later, there was another Philly favorite that did pretty well yesterday and brought his team up back from a win. I won't talk about that right now, but there's a lot of people that are saying, well, and I'm still a Carson Wentz fan.
Yeah, I will say this about Carson. We know he's got the talent. We've seen him win and see him succeed with this Eagles offense. I think right now, what I saw yesterday was a guy who's overthinking things. He's a little rattled. I don't think he trusts, number one, the offensive line. I don't think he trusts his receivers that he has on the field currently fully. So I think a lot of what you're seeing, the bad mechanics, the inaccurate throws, the misreads, is a lot of him just overthinking.
Playing off what you said. I mean, he did not have confidence in his weapons going in.
Yeah.
And then Goddard goes out, then Jackson goes out, then we got, Greg Ward had 8 catches yesterday?
He's great.
He played great, but at the same time, he's not going to be that deep threat.
No.
But love Greg Ward, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. And he's the only guy really, as far as the receivers goes, that we can really rely on as far as catching the ball, getting those extra yards, working for those plays. But other than that, I don't – and you can't just, for the rest of the year, listen, we're not going to go far. if our top two receivers are Zach Ertz and Greg Ward, those guys are complementary receivers.
Correct.
We need those. We need that X guy. We need that big X guy.
Now I hear they're trying to rush back Alshon Jeffrey, and that might not be a good idea.
No,
We know he's
exactly.
injury prone himself. So.
He's got a bigger gut than all three of us combined right now. Did you see that?
Yeah, I don't think he'll actually ever suit back up in an Eagles uniform. I think that he's done. I think that he's done. No, I don't think they're going to trade him. I think that he's just going to sit out this season, and that's going to
Contract's
be.
brutal.
Yeah. And that's what's going to wind up happening for there. So, well, let's go. We're going to go inside the numbers, and today that's brought to us by Wi-Fly, serving Wilmington with internet, only $55 a month. Wi-Fi, gluten-free, awesome internet. So again, Carson Wentz's stats: 29 for 47, 225 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks, 62.8 quarterback rating.
Rushing touchdown.
He did get a rushing touchdown. Did have 65 yards on the ground.
He did have a bad fumble too. That wasn't recovered.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, and that was Kelsey. Kelsey got beat there, and that's where that fumble kind of came from a little bit.
A little Jason Kelsey appreciation. I love that guy. He's
I wear his pants. I wear his pants every Sunday. It's his pants. When you see me all dressed up, it's his pants that I'm wearing. I had to pay a lot of money to get in his pants. So, yeah, I just said that out loud. Anyways,
okay.
it is. And so I love Jason Kelsey. He's definitely the man, and he lives in Delaware County. I'm a Delaware County guy, so it's definitely. I definitely. That's what I'm talking about. That's awesome stuff. But that all being said, I tell you, Carson Wentz is. The drums are going to start beating louder. They're going to start beating louder, and I feel like the moment that we start to go away from Carson Wentz, that the season's over. The season's over. I said it a few times that even the Eagles could go 0-4 in these first 4 games and still win the division with 10-6. Now,
crazy.
I firmly believe that. I think that the Eagles are very traditionally a slow start team, and that they come on towards the end. So, and I think that has to do more with just the way that these guys are built. You know what I mean? These guys are older. They take a little bit longer to get the motor going. You got to kick start. But then once they get rolling, they actually start to roll in the right direction. So that's where I kind of feel that we're going to have that success towards the end of the year. However, I'm not really interested in having that be that. I don't want them to prove me right. I would rather us win some games at first. That to go without a win in the first 3 games of this, and still only be a half game out of first place.
Scary things. We got the Niners next week, Steelers, and then Ravens. So winning 2 out of those 2 would be a dream come true.
Well,
that's an impossible task for us. But
so I would say that it would be impossible, except for the fact that the 49ers have everybody hurt.
And then we got the Giants out too next time. So that's
What?
Hey, we're waiting for that.
That's what I said. The Eagles season doesn't start until we play the Giants. That's just the way that it is, I feel. But
it's unfortunate that that's the case because, look, right now we're all Philly sports fans, right? And it's such a tough time right now. We just want the Bears to win. But the fact of the matter is, when we've seen this Eagles team over the last 3 years, like you said, they start off slow, but this team is built for those later months. When it starts getting cold and chilly, they show up, and you just hope that they don't dig themselves in a deep hole. But I think that they're going to start turning around little by little, like we talked about before. This is like preseason right now.
I think combined, the NFC East is 2-9-1.
That's bad. How about that NFC West record?
Yeah,
right,
not quite.
right, yeah, they're 9-1, aren't they?
Yeah, it's
or 11-1. 11-1.
You could easily possibly have if the
no,
healthy.
No, they're 10-2. Detroit, I got that in my notes. Detroit had a big upset against the Cardinals, so that's why and the Rams lost too. So
Lions are sneaky like that. They'll get that. Yeah, they'll get that.
They'll win that game. They ain't supposed
Stafford's
to.
got games, so he just decides to play them.
Right. But I say so. On the other side of the ball, I had to write this down because it actually amazed me after all this. Joe Burrows went 31 for 44, had 2 touchdowns. 105.5 quarterback rating, and not only that, he was sacked 8 times. He was on his butt all day long. He had 18 times hit 18 times. 18 times he was on his back, during that, and that's amazing. Like I said, that one hit, that there was even a cheap hit. They don't even count that in the times he was
Yeah,
hit.
another thing that stuck out to me was the body language, particularly in overtime. So Burrow in overtime, they show he's getting the kickoff, confident, I'm ready.
Nothing
Wentz,
shakes him.
I know you can see that, but then compared to Wentz recently, misses a throw. You just see his body language isn't. He's not pursuing confidence. He's not showing his confidence that he should have because he's a great quarterback. He's in his head right now, and he's got to get over it. He really does.
And I agree with that. It's just that he seems to be.
He's in a funk. Look at that.
You know, it's like I kind of liken this to the beginning of 2018 when he came out. And after they won the Super Bowl, I felt that every pass that he tried to throw, he was trying to win the Super Bowl. And there's a little bit of that going on here. And it's frustrating because you know that he's better. But when he starts throwing it at the ground like McNabb, you know what I mean? Every time I see that, I think of McNabb. And then the overthrows, those two times. One was really bad. The second time was just as bad. You know, it was not as bad as the first time. But it was so bad that
If he hit Sanders on that one out route,
Oh my
that's
God.
game.
that was a touchdown.
Sanders had no one in his back. He was going to them. That was a touchdown.
So, and
And Wentz knew it too. He saw it.
well, did you see him at the end? He like threw his helmet down on the ground. It was that bad, as he should have. He should have been angry about that. He knew that he missed it, and it really was a bad thing. But I tell you, like I said, on retrospect, with Joe Burrows, though, that guy is going to be a player. Cincinnati's going to go somewhere. The moment that they figure out, again, they got to take it from the Eagles playbook, offensive and defensive line. That's what they got to do. They got to start to build there because their linebackers are okay. Their cornerbacks are serviceable. They got to stop the run. They got to be able to protect Joe Burrows.
That's been since he's back there in the Bronx. He's been killing them the last 2 years. They give up rushing yards.
Which is my next note. So you must be reading my notes. 175 yards rushing, and they still didn't run it far enough. Anybody who watched me yesterday, I kept going like this. I want to see him run between the tackles. That's where I don't want him to go side to side. I don't want him to try to beat somebody around the corner. I want them to go between the tackles. I want the strength of our team, the offensive line, to go forward and push guys. They were moving the line. Both the offensive and defensive lines were moving, except for Peters, who was getting beat every time he had to go back to the pass block. I tell you, he was going against a fast guy, and every time he would get around it. So and they still didn't run. They didn't run enough. They just didn't run enough. Every time that they stopped them a little bit. Or how about this? You got Sanders. He runs 30 yards in the first 2 plays of the game, and then they take him out and put in Boston Scott. Why? Deuce. This is a deuce problem there.
Side note, Doc Rivers just got let go by the Clippers, so that could be a nice little fit.
Actually, I wouldn't mind that at all. I wouldn't mind that at all. It's so much better than what I've heard. But
I do not want to
yeah,
Sixers.
yeah,
All too iconic.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we're not going to talk about the Sixers. We're already depressed enough about this last game. We don't need to talk about the Sixers at all, or the Phillies either. So
Let me know. Why don't we try? Because during the training camp, I kept hearing about this Elijah Holyfield. I think he's still on the practice squad.
he actually dressed yesterday.
Like how
He's a pounder too, I think.
Yeah, you guys both know me. I love Glassboro. I love Corey Clement. But my man just doesn't have it.
No.
And there was one run where I saw a gaping hole and he could not hit it. He's not fast enough where we can't read that hole quickly.
Right.
Let's just give Holyfield a chance. What do we have to lose? Well, Miles Sanders, like we just said, Miles Sanders gives you only so much. You need that different pace guy. Like you said, someone who could just run between those middle gaps and we can get those tough yards.
Well, and it can't be Boston Scott. There was 2 specific plays that I remember watching where Boston Scott actually there was a hole and he didn't get to the hole, and like he was too busy, and then he got swallowed up, and that's why I like Sanders more. But after the first 2 plays and you got 30 yards out of Sanders, why pull him out? Why Bob? Like obviously,
And you know
He
what,
wasn't
too?
tired.
no, he wasn't.
And you know what, too? Listen, when we keep losing like this, we're going to continue bringing up Howie Roseman. Why did you not think that this team needed another type of running back other than a Miles Sanders and a Boston Scott? Again, why? What were you thinking? I mean, there's obviously a lot as we lose some light. Obviously, there was a lot of different things. a lot of different holes that we need to fix on this Eagles roster, but that's just one to me that, like, why did we not bring a different type of back?
Howie Roseman is getting me angry on a couple different
Yeah.
things. I mean, I'm watching DK Metcalf. He made a bonehead play last night, but then again, this guy on the game-winning touchdown. He is a beast. I got to take a Whiteside with not one catch again yesterday.
And where was he on the field? In the second half, when you lost to Sean Jackson, you got Dallas Goedert out. You got Deontay Burnett out there. And JJ is nowhere to be found.
Back from technical difficulties.
He plays both ways. So, like, why is he not, like, getting his snaps?
I heard Doug say, I'm talking about I think a Whiteside, right?
Yeah.
I heard Doug say something he was tweaked. Got enough with the injuries. I don't need to hear the excuses
It's
anymore
just-
about
yeah.
taking Whiteside. He's got to be on the field. I think he was playing the game before. He was on the field for 44 snaps and now one target. Not one, how's that possible?
He's just
How
another
do you not
Matt
have one
Collins.
target?
Well, and it was
At
nice
least
to
Mike
see.
Collins caught them touchdown.
It was nice to see Hightower catch the ball today or yesterday and actually get involved a little bit. That guy's got some speed, you know, and they said that he had a fantastic training camp and that he was having a hard time, you know, just in the first game where he dropped 3 balls. You know what I mean? That's so the fact that he was able to turn it back on again and okay, I found my hands again, and now I'm no longer scared of my first game of the NFL. I think that was a lot of jitters, and he was able to get. I think he had 7 targets. I actually have the notes here. I think he had 7 or 8 targets and had 5 catches for a couple of yards. So it was worthwhile to see that. Dallas Goedert, I think, actually affected us some.
He had one catch, I think. You know what else got me up in my feelings yesterday? I was watching the Vikings game too. Justin Jefferson,
No, bring it up.
175 yards and a touchdown. I'm not saying I don't like Rager. Rager looked good week 1, but he's hurt.
It definitely.
We have
it
speedy
definitely
receivers
sucks.
that get hurt all the time, and I'm watching Justin Jefferson catch touchdowns. It could be a big touchdown for the Eagles, but it's not working out.
He had more
Hallelujah.
in that game than J.J. in his NFL career. Now, look, I still think in the end we're gonna win that draft because I think Jalen's gonna be a better thrower than Justin Jefferson. That's just me personally. I could be wrong, of course, but I think we still made that right move. But I get it. Like that's just like Solomon Moon at that point watching Justin Jefferson doing it. But guys, like back to the defense because obviously the defensive line got its 8 sacks. We got some pressure on Joe Burrow. The secondary. The secondary, man.
Well, the secondary is not the problem.
No,
It's
but,
the linebackers.
But
They
Jalen Mills on that one drive where the second teammate gets touchdown, he got picked on 3 separate times on that drive.
Slay had a nice game though towards the end. He made a lot of big plays down
Here's
the
the thing.
stretch.
He coverage wise, I love what he's doing. Like he shut down AJ Green to see I need those turnovers. I know he's got it in him. He's a 0 person. Yeah, and again I think that
Well, they haven't been throwing his way either. So, and anytime they
In
do, he
general,
blocks.
first defense is 0
Yeah.
turnovers.
And the problem is too, Jalen's playing a new position. This is the NFL. Like I know he's playing safety, but this is the NFL. It's much different, and it sucks because obviously Wolf Parks hurt. We were expecting him to be in the rotation as well. Levante Maddox, in my opinion, hasn't really showed up for me as that opposite quarterback alongside Darius Slay. I'm not giving up on him. But no, but like I think that is he maybe an outside corner because it's definitely tough, defending those outside guys. Being a slot guy might be him more suited to him, but like I'm just not fully confident what I've seen from Matt.
Could you imagine if Slay actually did get hurt though? That one play where the long got
Oh
taken
my
off?
God, that
Oh,
was.
so that was they put it back in. That was a dislocated shoulder. I saw that. I saw it right away. They popped it right back in. And he was able to go back out there again.
I am happy he came back in the game. We needed him down the stretch, and I'm happy we still have him playing the rest of the season.
Yeah,
and
that
the
looked dangerous.
And the issue is too, a guy sitting on my fantasy bench, Mr. Tyler Boyd, he went off on us guys, and it was literally like it wasn't like crazy route. He ran like one type of route. It was just crossing the field, and he literally was wide open, and that he just killed us on that all day. It was like 10 catches he had. Like it was.
10 catches, I think 76 yards and such like that.
It looked like a
And
Pro Bowl
again,
receiver.
same thing. Going through the middle. Geary looked out of position.
Yeah.
Geary had the most amount
This
of
is the
tackles.
worst game.
He had 4 tackles and 4 assists, but he looked so far like he was chasing everybody. That's what he was doing. He was
That's that
chasing.
2017 Eagles draft right there.
Barnett and Gary were still holding on.
Well,
That was solid, right?
yeah.
Well, that had a sack.
He had 2. He had 2 sacks actually.
Solid.
So I mean, but that's and they had like 8. Was it 8 or 10? Well, and they had 8 sacks. I think they had an additional 6 or 8 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. So they were getting they were moving that line. But all they had to do was just do the crossing route in the center.
Yeah.
How many times is Geary going up for the run? It's like he bit every time they went play action, and they just crushed them. They just crushed them every time.
Anytime your defense gets 8 sacks, you should win.
Right.
You should. Obviously, there's other
Look
things.
for evidence week 1 when we played the football team.
Yeah. They won.
Right.
And they haven't
And
won a game since.
instead, we get a tie. All right. So look, we're going to move on now. Of course, we're going to do Around the Horn, and this is brought to us by Philly Sports Trips. And it's a family-owned and operated with trips for all Philly sports teams. They are the premier travel company for all Philly sporting events. To see what trips they have available, go to phillysportstrips.com. And I like to talk about only the most important games to me.
Of course, you started with that first.
I had to start with
Of course
this
you
one
did.
first. I had to start with this one first because this is the most relevant.
BDF.
The
I
Bears,
can't say it.
the Bears came back and beat the Falcons 30-26 by our friend number 9. They finally sat Trubisky, and number 9 comes out there and brings them back 3 touchdowns. They said the team just responded really well to him, and that he is likely going to be the starter.
Oh, he was named the starter.
He was named. They
By
named
the
him
way, I
the
like
starter
that
today.
TikTok.
Okay.
I felt
A little footnote for Nick Foles too. At the end of that game, when he threw that game-winning touchdown pass to, I believe it was.
I forget their
Anyway, he told his receiver. I forget who it was. He told his receiver, "Run to the L in the end zone. This is an all-out blitz. I'm throwing it to the L. Be there." Guess what? He put it. Look at the replay of that Nick Foles pass, the game-winning touchdown pass. He threw it right to the L. Called the touchdown
Sometimes
pass.
I do
Never
this.
stride. Maybe try it.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm very happy. I'm very happy that he's able to do that. I think that they've been dying to get rid of Trubisky.
It was Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller.
Okay. There you go. So, and that's just the fact that it happened that way. I had to put him as our number one guy and their number one team.
Dan Quinn's on the job?
I don't know. I actually, and he's a defensive guy, isn't he?
He's trying to break the wrong kind of record.
Yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And then also again, the Titans beat the Vikings 31-30.
You got the highlight.
31-30. Again, the Vikings came back to lose. They came back to lose. It's amazing how that they're also 0-3. So we're ahead of them by half a game. How about that? The Tampa Bay Brady's Brady actually had a really good game yesterday against Denver Broncos, 28-10. He's used to beating Denver like a drum, so that wasn't a big deal. Big shout out to Matt Rule winning his first NFL game. Panthers beat the Chargers 21-16, and there was just as many fans for the Chargers in this game than there usually is normally. So they had. And then here was the big upset of the day. The Lions beating the Cardinals 26-23. I thought the Cardinals actually had something going, and the fact that they lost it, weren't they playing at home? They were playing at home against the Lions. PU. Obviously, you're not as good as you thought you were. You were sniffing yourselves a little too much. The Seahawks did us a favor and beat that Dallas Cowboys. They suck. Dallas sucks, by the way. Dallas sucks.
Big surprise. Dak comes out with 450 pass yards. Throws the game-losing pick in the end zone. Thanks, Dak.
Thank you. Thank you. Give him the money. He's worth it. That's what I'm talking about. 38-31. And then the last one that I'm mentioning, the Packers that like to score just about 40 points a game. Just about did it again. 37-30 over the Saints.
Don't we play them too?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That'll be a fun week. Although that's much later. That's actually in December. It's going to be cold in December after that.
Show up.
Yeah. So, and that was our Around the Horn brought to us by Philly Sports Trips. And then, of course, we're going to start to look ahead right now, and that's brought to us by King Creative. You want your story to roar? Go to the Blue Lion. King Creative. Every story has an audience. So I didn't put this in our thing here, but the 49ers beat Sister Mary of New York 36-9 because the Giants stink out loud. They stink out loud badly. So like I said, our season doesn't start until we play the Giants. That's how I feel about it 100%.
Backup quarterback, backup tight end, backup defensive end.
The fact that they were playing their second and third stringers all game long against New York's finest.
Not one of the Giants running backs did anything that game.
Did Freeman even see the field?
I think I was looking at the fantasy points. He did not. I think he had maybe 1 or 2 points, but Deion Lewis did not have any points either. Maybe 1 point. Embarrassing.
That's sad. And that's sad. And you know what? I knew that.
Jacobs. That's what I feel. Kid's got potential, but the Giants are just going to let him.
Well, I'm sure that they're going to play him out too much. And first off, Danny Dimes, PU. But I'm not talking about them right now. We got the 49ers on our plate here. We got next Sunday night football. Sunday night football.
Flex us out, NFL. We do not want to play Sunday night.
They changed some games already too. So it's
Garoppolo's probably not playing either. I think he has a high ankle sprain. They're saying he could play next week, but I think that's just game planning purposes. I think that he's not playing. High ankle sprain that's like a 3-week injury.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that. They were talking about.
I'm going to tell you guys, this is it. This has to be it. The week that we finally just turn it on. Carson doesn't throw 2 interceptions. The defense plays a full game. Like, this is going to be the week we get the win. I feel it.
That could very well be. Like I said, San Francisco's hurt. Yeah, they lost their first game at home. You know what I mean? So against the Cardinals. So I don't know that I believe the Cardinals so much, especially after their loss this week. The fact that they're not going to have their quarterback, they're not going to have their tight end, they don't have their star defensive ends. I mean, those things are going to matter here. They're going to matter here, especially since I'm hoping Mailata starts to get more snaps and practice. He's got to get more snaps. I tell you, I would much rather see him start to play more. It's been very, very frustrating watching Jason Peters look as old as he is. I just said 38 years old, finally caught up to you. You know, last year you were doing something, and I know, again, this is kind of where I say that the ball's got to get rolling first, and then once it's rolling, once that ball gets rolling, it's going to just pick up speed. But it's like tough getting this thing pushed. I actually feel that we probably lost not having fans in the stands was a big deal yesterday. Big deal. That hurt us, hurt the Eagles in general yesterday.
100%, especially in the overtime period.
Yes.
I think that the biggest factor in this 49ers game coming up is going to be Jim Schwartz getting this D-line ready. Because if we stop the run, Mullins ain't going to be leading them to victory.
Oh, no.
49ers run the ball very well. He's got to let Fletcher Cox, Rick Jackson know. If we stop this run, we will win this game. Period.
And that's a Shanahan offense. It always revolves around the running back, which I kind of wish our offense was a little bit like. But, anyways, like you said, like we can stop this run. I don't think Kittle will be back either.
Nope.
I'm not sure. That's good.
I mean, he's going to be a game time decision, but I don't think he's going to play. And if he does, he's not going to be 100%. And I think that's going to help us.
So.
Right, Garoppolo's out.
Yeah, and this like I said, this is the game. You know, Carson, we've heard the talk. Enough of the talk. Let's see you do the ball. I want to see some crisp passes, no misreads, and run the ball again. I know it's going to be tough. You can only do so much more.
Right.
But I think that if we can stick to this game plan of just playing smart football, don't shoot yourselves in the foot. I don't see how we don't lose. I don't see how we lose this game.
I need a 300-yard day, 3 touchdown passes on Sunday Night Football. Shut down this talk in the national media by Carson Wentz.
Right.
Can't stand it anymore.
Exactly. I can support Carson as much as I possibly can, but if it's going to, he's got to start to play better. He's just got to start to play better. So
what do you guys think? What's the prediction?
I gotta wait to see Garoppolo's for sure out before I make that prediction.
Actually, I'm not as scared of Garoppolo. You know, Garoppolo's not going to be the end all be all there. I keep thinking that they're going to prove me right, and that they're not going to win a game in the first 4 games. I think that the Eagles are going to try to keep it close, then they'll lose it at the end, and it's going to be like a 27-24 game, where they're going to kick a field goal. Just because I said that they're going to go 0-4 and then they're going to wind up going 10-6. Well, now I already been proven wrong, so maybe that's the thing. But to go 0-3-1, not win a game in the first 4, and to still win the division because I said it, I called it out loud. You know what I mean? And that's going to be very frustrating to me for the first 4 games to have that going into Pittsburgh, where I'm going to be in Pittsburgh for that game, whether they let me in the stadium or not. I'm going to be out in Pittsburgh yelling at Three River Stadium. I'm going to do whatever I can to try to get up there. Since they don't let us near the stadium down here, they keep it quarantined off like a square mile around the stadium. You can't even get to the stadium.
They better win next week. They got the Steelers and the Ravens coming.
Exactly.
Steelers are frauds. Steelers are frauds. I don't trust
Defense
the Steelers.
is legit. Their defense is legit.
If Big Ben stays healthy, that team should.
We'll see. I think they're frauds, but that's just me. I mean, I like Juju and stuff like that, but I don't trust that they're as good a team as they think they are. Again, they're another team that's going to be sniffing themselves.
Yeah, you got to win. I think the Eagles know that too. Like, enough is enough. We're now 0-2-1. Let's get this W. Steelers, Ravens are next. I still a little worried about those, so I see the Eagles winning here 23-20.
23-20. King, what do you think?
If Garoppolo was out, and assuming we stop the run, I'll do an early week prediction of an Eagles win. We get a score 21-17, close game. Game.
And low scoring game.
You see
3
our
touchdowns.
offense?
Your 3 touchdowns.
I got all three for Carson Wentz, 2 passing touchdowns.
Gotcha.
I hope so.
Hopefully 2 to Zach Ertz, since he's been on my fantasy team and not been doing so hot. So I thank God I get the points per reception for that. So, anyways, and now I want to do our shout outs today. King, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you and stuff like that.
Yeah, so as you know, you can find me on TikTok, Kyle_Carberry, CARBERRY. Same Instagram tag. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok.
Awesome.
Nice.
And now he's on YouTube, does all this. He's going to be coming in a couple of weeks. We definitely want to hear a lot about what he's got to think. He's always doing something on TikTok. He's going crazy on TikTok. He's got a lot of different things that he's doing. And actually, how are you doing on your predictions? You've been predicting the NFL.
The Eagles are killing me.
The Eagles are the ones. I can believe that.
The Eagles are killing me.
Now, I've said that they were going to win 3 games
They're
so
killing me in
far.
the pocket too. Bro. I can tell you that.
That's why I never bet the Eagles. I definitely don't do that. So, and same thing with you. How about
Yes,
the?
sir. Well, first of all, Kyle, thanks for hopping on, man. It is truly a pleasure and honor having you on. But you guys can find me on Instagram at L_Puxetto_Philly, TikTok at L_Puxetto_Philly, and then on Twitter at Puxetto Philly as well.
He says it so much better than I do. This El Parcero.
We're getting there.
And I tell you, and I hope you guys have been watching. He's been doing Latino Month, where he's been doing
sir.
the best Latino,
Latino
all
Month.
that stuff. And that's a fantastic thing. I love watching that. Today was Manny Trio, and I can't, that's in 1980. I remember that World Series. That was a lot of fun for me.
Phillies, we want to celebrate again, please.
Exactly. But I did tell everybody that I was going to have a big announcement today, and I really do have one. I have teamed up with the Philly Sports Trips, and we are going to Dallas. We got tickets down to go to Dallas Stadium, down to AT&T Stadium. We're going to bring as many as we could get into the plane. We're going to squeeze them in tight and go down there for Dallas. We go down there December 27th, and we are going to be en masse in that stadium. And we're going to take that stadium over. They're only letting a certain amount of people in, and I'm ready to go down there. I'm going to be down there. I'm going to go see my man True Blue. He's the super fan down there, and I'm going to make sure we get to beat them up hard. Because every time I go to Dallas, we win. This may be the only time we get to see a game live this year. So definitely look it up. You want to go to phillysportstrips.com and check it out. Definitely, you're going to see the Dallas trip, and then to make sure you let them know that the Philly Sports Guy sent you. You get an extra little something thrown in the mix by doing that. And I tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going down there, and we're going to be leading the charge down there.
It's a nice Christmas gift.
That is a fantastic Christmas gift to do. And like I said, packages are starting out at just under $1,100. It's going to be a fantastic time. We're going down there, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. And I love going to Dallas. I love going down there and they love me. They love seeing my face down there because I don't shut up the entire time. I am busting their balls all day long. And I'm down there. I'm going down there. Like I said, I'm going to be down there for a week. So they're going to get to hear me all week long afterwards. It's going to be a lot of fun just in general. So, but Yeah, definitely. You want to check it out. PhillySportsTrips.com. Go to the Dallas one. We combine together. It's going to be an awesome trip. And we're going down. Like I said, I think they got as many as like 250 tickets. So let's go down there. If you got nothing to do, you want to go see an Eagles game live, now's the time. That's the way we're going to do it. So again, I want to thank all our sponsors today. Wi-Fi, gluten-free, awesome internet, King Creative. Every story has an audience. Let the Blue Lion tell yours. Thank you again, Protonic, for letting us have this show here. And, of course, the Philly Sports Trips. That's going to be an awesome trip. You guys need to sign up for this. We need to go crazy down there. And it doesn't matter what the Eagles are like now. When it gets to that time, it's going to be for the NFC East because Washington ain't going to do nothing. The Giants may not win a game. Actually, I think that everybody who plays in MetLife Stadium they're going to be between both of them, like win 4 games. I gave the over/under at 6. I might lower that a little bit because I don't think the Jets are going to win a game either. So, and we have a really good game tonight. The Chiefs versus the Ravens, and I will pat myself on the back because I did call that that upset last week. I said that the Raiders were going to. I was smelling it that the Raiders were going to win one. And they did. They beat the Saints, and that's so. I'll call that as a pat on the back for me. But what do you think about tonight's game?
Tonight is a huge game for both teams because whoever wins this game will have the tiebreaker for the #1 seed. There's only one bye this year.
Right.
Remember, they got that extra wild card. There's only one bye, and these 2 teams are looking like the top 2 teams in the AFC. Big game for a Week 3 football game. Big game.
I
got the Ravens.
I'll take it a step further. I think this is a big game for the league. You're talking about the future of the league with both these quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. I think that the Chiefs, though, are going to show up here, and they're going to get the W here. 24-20 Chiefs.
All right, so I am going more with the Ravens. I think that the Ravens are definitely going to be bitter about last year, that they're going to try to prove something tonight. I think that the Chiefs – so when it comes to big games like this, I don't necessarily trust that Andy is going to be well ready for it. I think that he's got a great team, and I think that that's going to be he's going to be amazing. But I think he relies a lot more on the running game with the Chiefs than he did with the Eagles, and they're not going to be able to run the ball, and that's going to be the start of things. I think that the Ravens are going to win it. The over/under is 55. If I was a betting man, I would take the under.
Hammer.
The under is the way to go, and I like the Ravens. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like the Ravens, and I would say it's going to be like 24-17, maybe 24-17, that they might cover. It could also be 24-20. Wouldn't surprise me that the defense comes up really big at the end and makes that stop. So
It should be a fun one.
it should be. It's going to be a fun game to watch. 3 of these in the books. I tell you, we're rolling. I tell you what, it don't matter what the Eagles are doing. We're definitely rolling like we're in mid-season form. And it's only going to get better because we're just getting warmed up. The Eagles might really be just getting warmed up, but we're already hot to go. So thank you guys for tuning in for us. Again, another Birds Breakdown. Let's go, Birds. We're going to turn it up. We're going to turn it up real loud. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Yeah, go Birds.